it's time to talk to one of his allies. Joining us now from New York, former White House Communications Director, Anthony Scaramuccui. And we'll get into this latest Steve Bannon statement in a minute, but since you famously clashed with Bannon during your brief time at the White House and attacked him as a self-promoter, are you surprised to see his relationship with the president blow up like this?
Yeah, actually, sort of am surprised. I mean, I said what I said about him being more focused on his personal brand, but I didn't think he was going to go out this far out into the stratosphere and do something like this, Howie. So yes, I am surprised.
All right, so since this just crossed the wires, Bannon gave a statement to the website Axios in which he, of course, one of the incendiary quotes in that Wolff book was about the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., the meeting with the Russian lawyer. Donald Trump Jr., Bannon says now is both a patriot and a good man, a relentless advocate for the president. He closes by, he talks about other remarks he made. I regret, says Bannon, that my delay in responding to the inaccurate reporting regarding Don Jr. has diverted attention from the president's historical accomplishments in the first year of his presidency. Not quite a full apology, but you have been indicating you were waiting to see something from Steve.
Yeah, listen, it's inside the red zone of an apology, but he needs to cross into the goal line of an apology and actually apologize for what he did. I mean, the unprecedented access that they gave this guy, Michael Wolff, who is a non-fact checker and an actual liar, is ridiculous. So I think he's got to flat out apologize rather than parse his words like that on Axios.
You had said things like, well, Bannon should go back to his therapist, and you predicted that Breitbart, the conservative website that he runs, will drop him.
He needs a life coach more than a therapist. You know, life coaches are more for the forward life, Howie. Therapists are more for your past life. But go ahead, keep going.
Why did you predict that Breitbart will drop him? Do you think he's now radioactive?
Well, I don't know. Did they drop him? I just said if he continues on.
I mean,
but if he continues on this course and splitting this hard from the president of the United States, who literally has an agenda that should be in the sweet spot of at least the economic agenda for Breitbart, which is to help economically desperate lower middle class families and to embrace the idea of resurging manufacturing America. If he continues to break this hard from the president, then I'd be shocked if they don't drop him. If he comes back into the fold, which I've recommended and many other people have recommended, drop the Steve Bannon jersey, put on the Donald J. Trump jersey and Team America jersey, then there'd be no reason to drop him. Listen,
little football analogy there, but let me jump in.
People fight all the time, you know.
Yeah, sure, I understand. And he's a private citizen now, can say what he wants. But there's been a lot of criticism, as you know, of the Michael Wolff book, some from journalists, a lot from the White House. You just a moment ago called him a liar. What do you base that on?
Well, he's a complete liar. I mean, he's saying on the Today Show that 100% of the people in the Trump orbit think that the president's, I'm not even going to say what he said because there's no sense of repeating it, but I don't feel that way. Stephen Miller...
Has to do with, just so people know what we're talking about, Anthony, has to do with questioning his mental stability or fitness.
Yeah, okay, they're questioning his competency and his judgment. He's saying 100% of the people are saying that. That's BS. No, I'm not saying that. I'm for certain Steve Miller's not saying that. Hope Hicks is not saying that. You think Keith Mueller is saying that? Those are four people right there. So this is sort of exaggerating, tabloid-esque nonsense that unfortunately the president has to deal with, because look at the accomplishments that he's had over the last year, and he's a combative person. He's got a Twitter style that some of these liberals don't like, and it's a little bit too bad. But if you look at the economic dashboard, the national security dashboard, the things that he's done in regulations, he's had a great first year, and he's going to have an even better second year. And so people don't like that, and so they're going to do this sort of, nonsense, this tabloid-esque rag nonsense.
If you were still in the White House, would you have advised the president to be sending out tweet after tweet, going after the book, which gives it plenty of attention, and to say that he's a stable genius? I mean, in playing defense, he is obviously helping to keep the spotlight on the book that you and others say is not fair.
Listen, this is where I probably diverge some of the people inside the White House. I'm probably more in line with Corey and Dave Bossie on this. Let the president be the president. He's going to do this stuff whether you advise him to do it or not do it. The truth of the matter is there is a level of genius fits to his personality, as it relates to his marketing, his political about him. There's a lot of genius in that. And so if he wants to tweet about the book and it increases the sales and the author wants to send him a box of chocolates, big deal, okay? In a month or two, this book will be over, but his presidency will not be. In fact, it's just beginning in terms of the accomplishments that it's going to have.
You know, Bannon also had opposed you as not being a good choice for communications director. A moment of self-reflection here. Could it be said that you both have something in common, which is kind of a big mouth?
Yeah, listen, in hindsight, I regret some of the things that I did while I was the communications director. In hindsight, of course, I could have done things differently, but I think the big difference between me and somebody like Steve Bannon, I'm totally comfortable apologizing for that. I'm totally comfortable for admitting that.
A very straight up, honest
to General
answer.
Kelly and the president, and I'm ready to move on, but I stayed on the team, Howie. I never broke ranks with the president or General Kelly. I believe in the president's agenda. I've known the president a long time as a friend before he was president, and it is politics. And if you make a mistake in politics and it costs you your job, there's no sense in whining about that. It's just get back on the field and let's play to win as a team.
Just before we move on, I know you've got the jersey on and the helmet. It was, of course, the expletive-laden conversation you had with the New Yorker's Ryan Lizza, which you I've said was a mistake. You assumed it was off the record. It was not. That led to your departure, or at least hastened it. What was your reaction when the New Yorker recently fired Ryan Lizza over sexual harassment allegations, which he disputes?
Well, listen, I mean, my first reaction was good because now he won't be able to do what he did to me to other people. My second reaction, and frankly, I often bring you up, Howie, because you said to me that you'd never seen a journalist do that in your 40 years in Washington to a governmental official. He knew the spirit and the context of that conversation was off the record. He decided to use it against me, cost me my job. But the good news is that he won't be able to do that to anybody anytime soon as a result of his departure from the New Yorker. And again, my family had a 50-year relationship with the Lizza family on Long Island, and so he can say whatever he wants about that, but there's no disputing that.
All right. Well, you know, not just this book, New York Times, Washington Post, there's just a constant flow of stories based on leaks from people in the Trump circle, White House, administration. I know you wanted to crack down on leaks when you were briefly there. And the leaks often make the president look erratic or hot-headed. In other words, they're from people who are supposed to be on his side that are not helping him. He says phony sources, but somebody's talking to these journalists.
Yeah, but, you know, the truth of the matter is those are not, when you look through the book, and I read the book, you know, over the weekend, I finished it yesterday, it's sort of the people that were never really with the president day one. You know, it's non-Trump loyalists. It's people that were sort of in that quiet, never Trump zone that somehow meandered into the administration more so than the Trump loyalists. And so the people that totally understand the president, get the president, understand his instincts, know him as a person, do not see him that way. But the people who are sort of in that Washington establishment crowd that have somehow crept into the administration, those are the ones that you're finding anonymously sourced in that book.
All right. Now, finally, I've got half a minute here. You took strong exception to a piece in the Daily Beast saying that that you had told people that the president and Ivanka missed you and wanted you back in the West Wing.
Never said that. It's more of that nonsense, total inaccuracy there. I have a great relationship with Jared and Ivanka. I consider myself having a very good relationship with the president. They've never asked me to go back. I'm super focused on my own house as opposed to the White House, Howie.
You have no interest in going back at any time?
No, I didn't say that. I'm an American citizen, and I'm somebody that loves the country. And although it was only 11 days, I enjoyed my time in public service. So I didn't say that. But I'm not a presumptuous person, and I don't think anybody wants me back. I certainly don't think General Kelly wants me back. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, he's trying to run a very organized and tight ship. I'm more of an entrepreneurial figure and more creative. I could probably be more helpful to the president, frankly, on the outside than inside the White House.
All right, listen. So he's like a it's like a pinball, just shooting off the side. As CIA director, you give the president his daily intelligence brief almost every morning. What do you see?
Yeah, those statements are just absurd, Chris.
I mean, just pure fantasy. My personal experience, I was with the president yesterday at Camp David. I'm with him almost every day. We talk about some of the most serious matters facing America and the world, complex issues. The president is engaged. He understands the complexity. He asks really difficult questions of our team at CIA so that we can provide him the information that he needs to make good informed policy decisions. And I've watched him do that. I've watched him take the information that the intelligence community delivers and translate that into policies that are of enormous benefit to America. Statements like the one Mr. Wolff made about how we all think about the president, they're just ridiculous on their face. They're frankly beneath the conversation this morning, Chris.
Well, but it is a conversation, so I'm going to...
Only because you made it so, sir.
Well, no, I understand that. Well, I didn't make it. Michael Wolff did, and the country has, and to a certain degree, the president has, by responding to it so directly. Fitness to be president.
Completely fit. I mean, I pause only because it's just a ludicrous question. Right? These are from people who just have not yet accepted the fact that President Trump is the United States president. And I'm sorry for them in that. We're going to move on with our mission at CIA. We're incredibly focused on keeping Americans safe. And things like this book, frankly, are just passing moments in history. We'll get on. We'll do the people's work, and America will appreciate the good work that we do.
I want to press on a couple of more points. I promise we'll then get on to your day job. The author quotes an email that was supposedly representative of the view of one of the president's top economic advisors, Gary Cohn. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Trump won't read anything, not one-page memos, not the brief policy papers, nothing. He gets up halfway through meetings with world leaders because he is bored. Now, back in May, you were quoted as saying that one of the ways you keep the president engaged in your intelligence briefings is with, quote, your words, killer graphics.
Yes, absolutely. I love killer graphics too. So do you, Chris. You use them on your screen all the time here on the show, right? It's how you convey information. This president reads material that we provide to him. He listens closely to his daily briefing. Different presidents, indeed the previous president, didn't receive his briefing in that same way. He didn't take a daily briefing from his CIA director. President Obama chose not to do that. This president is an avid consumer of the work product that our team at CIA produces, and we do our best to convey that to him nearly every day.
Now, a year ago, I asked the then president-elect during the transition about why it was that he was only taking an intelligence briefing about once a week. Here's what he said.
You know, I'm like a smart person. I don't have to be told the same thing and the same words every single day for the next 8 years. Could be 8 years, but 8 years. I don't need that.
And yesterday morning, Mr. Trump fired back at questions about his mental fitness with this tweet. Throughout my life, my two greatest assets have been mental stability and being like really smart. Not smart, but genius, and a very stable genius at that. I say this respectfully, sir, and I understand your impatience with our dealing with this subject. The CIA does psychological profiles of world leaders routinely. What would you say about a world leader who refers to himself as a very stable genius?
Chris, I'm not going to dignify that question with a response. This is a man who is leading the United States of America and who engages with the intelligence community in ways that are sophisticated. He deals with the most complex issues and is handling them in a way that I have great admiration and respect for. We're keeping America safe, and President Trump is completely capable of working alongside of us and leading us in that effort.
I want to pick up on that last point. You say you're keeping America safe. By raising questions about the president's fitness, in a sense, and the president became a part of it, making this the big topic this week, has this book weakened our country, weakened our standing around the world?
No.
All right, let's move on.
We want to play poker with him.